From primates on Mars to skull-shaped asteroids, here are 11 of the creepiest photos from space. Number 11. Gorilla on Mars. British tabloids decided it would be a fun idea to stir readers' imaginations in early 2016 when numerous publications featured what they claimed was a photo of a gorilla living on Mars. Captured by NASA's Curiosity rover in 2004, the photo drew little attention until it appeared in a YouTube video posted by a user known only as Mr. Enigma. From there, the claims appeared in far-flung headlines courtesy of mainstream media, adding the so-called gorilla to a growing list of animals people claim to have identified in pictures of the red planet. Extraterrestrial enthusiasts reportedly spend hours scouring images from space, looking for anything they can correlate with an Earth-like creature. Some people even believed that the image of the suspected primate also featured a camel, while others suggested that the pair looked like a mother bear and her cub. The outlandish belief that the animals we're familiar with here on Earth could also exist on Mars took off like wildfire. But a closer look at Mr. Enigma's other YouTube videos, which contain claims that he spotted an octopus, an Egyptian statue, and other out-of-place items on the red planet, begs the possibility that the content was created by someone who simply has too much time on their hands, spending their days staring at pictures of rock formations until they see something that looks like an animal or an earthly object. Other conspiracy theorists have claimed to spot crabs, lizards, bears, rabbits, and more in photos of the Martian surface. As always, mainstream scientists stand by their claims that these are nothing more than rocks. Number 10. Face on Mars. In 1976, a photo captured in the Cydonia region of Mars sparked international headlines for containing what looks like a human face protruding from the surface. Scientists knew early on that the formation was merely a pile of rocks that gained its eerily human-like appearance through lights and shadows, but that's not a very exciting story. So, of course, as they do, people took their more imaginative ideas and ran with them. As conspiracy theorists clung to their denial that the object was naturally formed, they proposed numerous explanations for the object's origins. The most general argument claims that the face is evidence of life on Mars, while a more specific claim alleges that it is a remnant of an alien civilization, and that nearby rock formations are actually destroyed buildings that once made up a village. Sounds insane, right? Both NASA and the European Space Agency took more detailed pictures of the face and concluded, not surprisingly, that their original analysis of it was correct. The face is nothing more than some rocks that the light is hitting in just the right way to make them look like a person. In other words, it's an optical illusion. Number 9. Screaming Skull. Captured in the year 2000 by NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory, this X-ray image depicts what appears to be a demonic flaming face. Known as the Perseus Cluster, it's actually just a collection of thousands of galaxies located 320 million light-years from Earth, which are spread throughout a 100,000 light-year span. Oddly enough, none of the galaxies are visible in the bizarre photo. Instead, the image features a massive 50 million degree cloud of intra-cluster gas that's bigger than all the galaxies combined, according to NASA's Astronomy Picture of the Day blog. Voids and bright knots within the cloud are what give the picture its skull-like appearance. Scientists believe that there's a supermassive black hole at the center of the Perseus cluster. The dark bubbles forming the skull's eyes and toothless mouth likely resulted from explosions of energy particles that were ejected from the black hole. The brighter white-hued areas represent more intense X-ray radiation, while weaker radiation is responsible for the dimmer red shades. Number 8. Ghost Nebula. Located 1,470 light-years away within the Cepheus constellation in the northern sky, the Ghost Nebula, SH2136, also known as the Ghosts of Cepheus, is a cloud of interstellar dust which is also known as a reflection nebula. It can also be classified as a globule, which is a dark cloud of gas and dust illuminated by the light of nearby stars. Measuring over 2 light-years across, the Ghost Nebula contains several new stars, which give it a brownish hue. The globule is best known for its ghastly appearance, resembling a collection of ghosts trying to escape from some invisible force. There's also a Ghost Head Nebula, NGC 2080, which is named for 2 white patches it contains called the Eyes of the Ghost. Located 168,000 light-years away in the Milky Way, there's a satellite galaxy known as the Large Magellanic Cloud. It's both a star-forming region and an emission nebula, which is formed from ionized gases. As you'll learn throughout today's video, these are not the only spooky space objects that look like ghosts. Number 7. A Martian Human. For centuries, people have entertained and obsessed over the idea that there could be life on Mars. So naturally, when NASA released images of what appears to be a person on the red planet's surface in 2008, believers saw it as solid evidence that they were right all along. Some even speculated that the individual was alive when the pictures were taken. But scientists offered the far more rational, albeit boring explanation that the human-like figure is nothing more than a rock. They argued that this is just another example of people seeing shapes and objects in clouds, foods, and other things. Writing for Space.com, science blogger Benjamin Radford argued that the fact that people interpreted the object as a human supports the idea that a psychological phenomenon is at play, rather than valid scientific evidence of Martian life. Meanwhile, Radford explained, people failed to perceive other rock formations as possible life forms, even though they could have easily done so, with some of them resembling armadillos, snakes, and other non-human creatures. Astronomer Phil Plait pointed out that the rock in the photo is just a few inches tall, essentially proving that there's no person in the picture. This is a classic example of the human mind's tendency to play tricks on itself and for people to see what they want to see, even when all signs point toward their interpretation being wrong. Do you think there's life somewhere on Mars? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 6. The Great Pumpkin. On October 30th, 2015, the day before Halloween, NASA scientists captured this image of asteroid 2015 TB-145 as it passed by Earth from roughly 480,000 kilometers away. Nicknamed the Great Pumpkin and the Halloween asteroid, this 2,100-foot, skull-shaped mass is believed to be a dead comet. It was discovered just weeks before its Halloween flyby, which is the closest known approach by such a large object. That is, until the 2,600-foot asteroid 1999 AN-10 passes by in 2027 from 238,000 miles away. The Great Pumpkin completes a rotation roughly every 3 hours and only reflects 5 to 6% of the sunlight that hits it, according to Space.com. It's only slightly more reflective than charcoal, says astrophysicist Pablo Santos Sanz, who co-authored a study on the ghoulish object. Completing a trip around the Sun every 3 years, the Halloween asteroid has a unique oblong orbit but poses no impact threats to the Earth. In other words, it only looks scary with its uncanny resemblance to a human cranium. Number 5. Jackolantern Sun. In an eerie coincidence that happened as Halloween 2014 approached, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory captured an image of the Sun that looked like an illuminated jack-o'-lantern. The giant star's brightly lit active regions are responsible for the festive characteristics, which resemble the eyes, nose, and crooked mouth that are typical of a carved pumpkin. The image's orange color was created by blending 2 sets of wavelengths, including the 171 angstrom extreme ultraviolet light that appears yellow and the 193 angstrom light, which has a muted gold hue. These wavelengths cannot be seen by the naked eye, so it would be impossible to simply look at the Sun, which is a bad idea anyway, and get the same results. A 2019 Sci-Tech Daily article clarifying the facts about the picture pointed out that the shapes we see in the Jackolantern Sun are similar to how we look at clouds and interpret them as looking like various objects, a psychological tendency known as pareidolia. So, does the Sun have any real connection with Halloween, especially considering the timing of when the image was captured? No, but the coincidences are both creepy and entertaining. Number 4. A menacing face. When astronomers examined a Hubble Space Telescope image captured in late 2019, they were met by what looked like a pair of ghoulish, glowing eyes staring right back at them. Of course, this had nothing to do with the supernatural, but was the product of 2 galaxies colliding deep in space. The eyes represent the galaxy's cores, and a ring of young blue stars form what looks like the outline of a face. Officially cataloged as ARP Mador 2026-424, the intergalactic crash is a rare example of galaxies crashing into one another head-on. The impact caused their gas, dust, and stars to stretch outward, forming the ring of young stars. There are only a few hundred known ring galaxies, which are formed when a collision occurs at a very specific angle, according to Sci-Tech Daily. It'll take roughly 1 to 2 billion years for the 2 galaxies to fully merge. The crash is also unique because the galaxies appear to be approximately the same size. Typically, these encounters involve large galaxies consuming smaller ones. By studying how galaxies interact with one another, scientists hope to learn more about how galactic mergers cause them to grow over time. Number 3. Alien shares. In recent years, scientists have increasingly turned their attention towards strange dark spots that dot the surface of Venus. These unexplained splotches, which change over time, were discovered over a century ago, but we still don't know what they are. Some researchers have suggested that they could be a sign of life on the planet. In a 2019 study, experts conceded that all the possibilities they entertained failed to explain what the spots could be made of or what their properties were. The spots contain particles that all appear to be the same size and behave like microorganisms that exist on Earth. Furthermore, scientists determined that between 2006 and 2017, the amount of light the planet absorbs from the light that hits it, known as the albedo, was reduced by half and then began increasing again. These changes were accompanied by a similar reduction in how much solar energy clouds absorbed. directly impacting the amount of circulation in the Venusian atmosphere. Researchers are at a loss to explain the causes behind these dramatic changes, but they believe the strange dark spots may play a role, and even highly respected scientists have gotten on board with the idea that they could contain living organisms. Number 2. Witchhead Nebula. In keeping with its theme of featuring festive images around Halloween, in 2013 NASA published a photo of what looks like the side profile of a screaming witch's face. Captured 900 light-years from Earth by the agency's WISE infrared space telescope, the object in question is actually a collection of baby stars that illuminate the surrounding cloud of dust, giving the formation its seemingly wicked appearance. Known as a reflection nebula like we mentioned earlier, the Witch's Head is located near the knee of the Orion constellation, hundreds of light-years from Earth. Officially filed under the name IC2118, it cannot be seen by the naked eye and can only be viewed through a telescope thanks to reflected starlight, according to the Lowell Observatory. The brightest star in the Orion constellation and the seventh brightest star in the night sky, dubbed Regal, is largely responsible for lighting up the Witch's Head. Scientists believe that the nebula is likely the remnant of a massive star explosion known as a supernova, which occurs at the very end stages of a star's life. Like several other examples on today's list, our interpretation of the image reflects a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, which happens when the human brain recognizes shapes and objects in unrelated pictures. Number 1. Eye of Sauron. Located in the constellation Piscis Austrinus, Fomalhaut is a bright star with at least one planet dubbed Fomalhaut b circulating it. Since its discovery in 2005, Fomalhaut b's strange orbit has perplexed scientists who are also curious about why the regions around the star are populated by large numbers of comets, according to Space.com. At roughly 440 million years old, Fomalhaut is much younger than our 4.5 billion-year-old Sun. It has a surface temperature of around 14,840 degrees Fahrenheit and is the 18th brightest star in the sky. Scientists first suspected that there was a planet orbiting Fomalhaut back in 2002. 3 years later, they captured Fomalhaut b in this eerie image reminiscent of the Eye of Sauron, a reference from The Lord of the Rings. For those who are unfamiliar with the trilogy, it's clear that the image looks like a giant, evil-looking red eye. Researchers claimed that this was the first time anyone had taken a picture of a planet in visible light, while skeptics argued that the image was not necessarily a planet, but perhaps it featured a dust cloud. The inability of NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope to capture a picture of it supported this idea. A 2012 study put the debate to rest by proving that Fomalhaut b is in fact a planet. That same year, scientists discovered a massive swarm of up to 83 trillion comets lurking near the Fomalhaut system. Every day, thousands of the comets collide and are destroyed, according to study leader Bram Ack. Fomalhaut's system also contains an unusually high amount of dust, which researchers believe is formed by comet collisions. The materials have a mass equivalent to roughly 110 Earths. Thanks for watching. Which of these photos creeped you out the most? If you'd like to learn more about creepy space photos, let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on American Eye.